Hey, what's up guys? Dan here, recording live from my brand new apartment here in Vancouver, BC. So today I want to talk about one of the biggest things that has contributed to me becoming a millionaire in under 1 year at the age of 22, to me living the life of my dreams, and to me breaking free from the 9-to-5 grind forever, allowing me to live my fullest potential and allowing me to live my dream life and allowing me to accomplish my biggest goals and dreams. So today I want to show you guys this book, The Magic of Thinking Big by David R. Schwartz. Now, I read this book about 6 months ago, and it absolutely blew my mind. And if you haven't read it yet, I strongly recommend you go and pick up the book off of Amazon or something. Actually, I will be posting up in the description of this video. You can check out, there's going to be Dan's Essential Book List for Success, so you guys can go ahead and check it out down there. So every single book that has contributed to me becoming successful and to me becoming a millionaire is going to be right down there. So these are the books that have absolutely changed my life and changed my mindset. And as you guys know, money and becoming successful, 80% of it is mindset and 20% of it is actually doing something. For example, Amazon or an actual business or anything like that. So I've actually read this book 6 months ago, and I gotta say that out of all of the books I've read, this book stood out the most among a few other books that are in that book list down there. So the whole premise of this book is how successful entrepreneurs think big, and basically they think their way to success, in a grand scale. So they always think huge thoughts. They always think how to affect a lot of people, how to change the lives of a lot of people instead of a few people, and how to basically blow up 10x, 100x everything, 100x their business, and basically change the world. So we always wonder, how does 99% of society stay mediocre and poor while the top 1% of society rises to such great heights where they become millionaires and billionaires? How does that happen? Like, what's the factor that allows them to get there and that allows them to break free and really set themselves apart from the rest of society? The answer to that question is right here, actually in the title of this book, and it's Thinking Big. So every single successful person thinks big. And the fact that they think big, it allows them to change the lives of a lot of people through their product or service that they offer, or with their business. Whether, for example, if you guys are, if you guys have an online business, e-commerce, Amazon, or whether it's something like Steve Jobs did with Apple, or Elon Musk did with Tesla and SpaceX, right? They had these grand visions in their head of exactly what they wanted the world to look like, and they basically are trying to mold the world to their vision. And their vision is always massive. Right? It's not, they're not just trying to change the lives of a few people, they're trying to change the lives of the whole world, basically, everybody, right? So that's what thinking big is. So when it comes down to it, it's what's in your mind. Successful people and millionaires and billionaires and, entrepreneurs have the ability to think for themselves and think big. Meanwhile, 99% of society, they don't have the ability to think for themselves. They are basically living their lives, a version of someone else's script that's imposed on them, and they don't even realize it. They're actually living, brainwashed every single day, going to their shitty, pathetic 9-to-5 job, every single day going to their shitty, pathetic boss, and, without even knowing that they've trapped themselves in this trap where their strengths can't be put into the world. Every single person has strengths. One or two things that you're very, very good at. And if every single person had the chance, the time and had the chance to actually apply, their strengths in a certain business, the whole world would be a much happier and much brighter place because every single person would be living their dream life. So there are two quotes here that I really, really like. And the first one is by the prophet David, "As one thinketh in his heart, so is he." And then another one by Emerson, "Great men are those who see that thoughts rule the world." So essentially when it comes down to it, the thoughts that you think all day, every single day, contribute to your life and basically decide the outcome of your life in the present moment. You are literally the result of all of your previous thoughts. If you were constantly thinking very small, if you always had this kind of scarcity mindset, and you always were concerning yourself with very petty things, like for example taking out the trash or something like that, or very minor things that don't really really contribute to your life or to the world, then there's no wonder why 99% of people stay pathetic and mediocre. It's because they don't actually realize the power that they have, and that's their mind. They don't realize the power that they've been given. So how come one person can get stuck making $50,000 a year while another person, is making millions of dollars a year or billions of dollars a year? It literally comes down to the scale of an individual person's thoughts, how big you are thinking. So 99% of society are thinking small while you're thinking big. And that's what's going to make you successful. So the person who's thinking big is always thinking, how can my product or service that I'm offering, that I'm putting out into the world, how can I affect, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, millions of people, billions of people, right? And that's the reason, if you look at every single successful entrepreneur, every single billionaire, every single millionaire, in one way or another, they've affected the lives of a lot of people, or it could have been maybe a smaller amount of people, but in a massive scale. So they're still thinking big, regardless of whether it's a lot of people or whether it's less people, but on a massive scale. So for example, someone who opens up a restaurant and has 10,000 locations around the world. Well, they are changing the lives of people, but they're changing the lives of people in a in a small scale, but they're changing the lives of millions of people, because obviously 10,000 locations, you're always around the world and you've got a ton of these locations people can go to. So that's thinking big, and that person would be a millionaire or a billionaire. And meanwhile, on the other side of the scale here, a person could affect the lives of maybe 10,000 people, but in such a drastic way. For example, a person could find the cure for a certain type of cancer, and let's say 10,000 people are cured with his or her cure. Well then, that person's probably a millionaire or a billionaire, because they've affected the lives of a smaller amount of people, but so drastically. And that's what you have to understand. You always have to be thinking big if you want to become successful, and if you want to become someone in this world. And if you really want to live a life to your potential, a life that you've always been dreaming of, and a life where your strengths that you were given, being born on this planet, are correctly applied. So ever since I've started entrepreneurship and starting online business, starting my YouTube, starting Amazon, starting my personal brand, making these videos for you guys, I've always been thinking big. How can I affect the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, of millions of people? How can I personally be responsible for, let's say, getting people out of the 9-to-5, getting people to realize their potential, getting people to realize that, they can actually pursue a business and, become successful, as opposed to what society has taught them. So listen to this. What I'm about to say is about to change your life forever. Whether you're building a $100,000 business, let's say you've set a goal of a business that's $100,000 or $1 million, right? So let's say there are two people. Person A is trying to build a business that's a $100,000 business, while person B set the goal of a $1 million business. Or, you can do the same thing for, let's say person A is a $1 million business, or person B is $100 million, right? So you would think that it would take a way more effort and way more time for the person trying to build the bigger business, as opposed to the person trying to build the smaller business. And it's completely not true. And I didn't believe it at first, but after reading this book, after reading The Magic of Thinking Big, I realized that it actually takes the exact same time and effort to get to any kind of goal that you set for yourself. So watch this. Let's say both people at the beginning of their entrepreneurship career, one with the goal of a $1 billion business and one with the goal of a $1 million business, or a $100,000 business, anyway, smaller and bigger. Let's say both people start right here, and the first person's goal is right here, and the second person's goal is right here on the graph, okay? If you actually look, right, let's say person A goes this way, right, so they're fighting for their goal, and they get here, while person B goes this way, okay? But look at that, they literally end up at the exact same point on the graph horizontally. One person is just a lot higher than the other. So essentially, when you set your sights for something huge from the beginning, from the very beginning, you're going to be taking actions that are 100x the scale of another person that will be trying to build something smaller. And these actions are not necessarily going to take you more time. They're probably going to take you around the exact same time. So once I've realized that, my whole world changed, and now I'm really applying this principle to my life. And I can definitely say that after learning this principle, it definitely contributed to my financial success, my personal success, and my personal development. Allowing me to live my dream life at the age of 22, allowing me to live in my dream apartment, allowing me to become a millionaire, and allowing me to do this, for a living, allowing me to show you guys how every single person watching this video can accomplish something huge and can accomplish something big for themselves, and really can, live their dream life and live a life where their potential is being achieved to their maximum, where they're actually giving the world their strengths that they were born with, instead of, working mindless, mediocre, pathetic jobs. So literally, whatever age you are, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, it doesn't matter, 18, set your goals high from the very beginning. And trust me, you'll come back to this video in a year or two, and you'll be like, wow, I set this goal for myself that I thought was so unrealistic. But, either you got very close to it, or you actually surpassed it by a lot. Usually it's the second. So usually you surpass it by a lot. Every single goal that I set for myself, I've actually surpassed it by a large margin. And these goals at the beginning, they weren't always necessarily believable for me, all right? So anyway guys, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys realize the potential that you have, and hope you guys realize that, you only have one life to live your dreams, one life to, build what you want to build, and one life to really allow your vision of the world to come true. And whether it's financial freedom, personal freedom, whether it's, you're trying to build a $1 million or $1 billion business, I'm sure that this video changed your outlook on life and really changed your mindset, allowing you to understand that, you really should set those goals high from the beginning, and you should really be thinking big your whole life, all right? Because if you don't, you'll you'll end up like the rest. You'll end up like the herd, driving every single day to their pathetic 9-to-5 jobs, just living the day-to-day, literally stuck in a mystery their whole life. Go out in the street, and I bet you if you ask every single person on the street, what they want to do with their life or where they see themselves in 5 years, they won't be able to give you an answer, all right? So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys haven't, you should pick up this book and check out all the other books that, have directly contributed to my success, and I guarantee you that they'll change your outlook on life, and they'll really change your life, just like they did mine, all right? And they'll really propel your income and propel your happiness and propel your freedom, all right? So check out the book list below and subscribe. A ton of great stuff coming up: passive income, entrepreneurship, e-commerce. Check out the Amazon FBA content I've got on my channel. If you're interested in an actual online passive income stream that anybody in the world can start, which is the income stream that I've mastered and that has personally changed my life, completely passive, all you need is a laptop and an internet connection, go ahead and check out my other Amazon videos on this channel, all right? So follow me on social media, Instagram, Snapchat, links are below, and I'll see you guys soon.